And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the monastery, the open bar of the internet, the world's greatest shit show, and the place where we, the good brothers and sisters of this most holy of temples, seek enlightenment through the drunkest, craziest, and most batshit ways possible. I am your one and only gaming monk, better known as Mildra, and with me I have a returning good brother to the temple. Previously here for things like Against the Dark Master and Secrets of the Golden Throne. And now coming to us with a science fiction spin on the concept with Against the Starmaster, which currently has its playtest rules available on the site in the description on YouTube, and I will put up the description on Twitch in a moment. The one and only Max Caracristi, and I'm pretty sure I butchered it again. Goes to show once again.
Hi,
I'm
everyone.
human.
Yeah, no problem, man. Max is good. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
We've had the jokes about how even other folk in your native Italy have a hard time with your name.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just too damn long, you know.
Yeah. Which makes me wonder how some people can handle the name of that one town in New Zealand that's so long it set a Guinness World Record. Or that one town in Wales that nobody can pronounce.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, there are a few of those. Yeah, I've seen the big pictures on the internet. Yeah.
So obviously this is a whole new genre for you on this. The first project that I had you on for Against the Dark Master was you taking the Rollmaster concept, adding a bit of power metal and mostly MERP. Now, a bit of MERP, a bit of power metal, and we get Against the Dark Master. Obviously, there's a bit more to it, but that's the baseline. So with Against the Starmaster, was it an attempt to just do MERP in space? What you had done with MERP, but in space? Was it an attempt to do something like Space Master? What's the origin story with doing Against the Starmaster?
Yeah, we could say that we did it again, but the Children of Bodom version, and but in reality, we had this going on, and we had this on our mind for quite a long time, almost almost since the Dark Master Kickstarter, and the concept, because the concept basically isn't that far off the Dark Master, the idea, behind against the Dark Master. It's something we noticed because we rewatched the Star Wars movies, and we kept thinking, that this is very similar to what we are doing with Dark Master. It's just it's space basically. So, and we started, thinking about it, but we had other plans for the moment. We had Secrets of the Golden Throne and the other stuff we've been working on.
Mm-hmm.
So we kept postponing it. But in the end, we just decided to go for it and try and give a new spin to the game. And so you could say that Against the Starmaster is basically Against the Dark Master, but in space. But I think it's a bit more. We are trying to rework and redefine some things adapted to the themes and our source of inspiration. So, and in some ways also, review the system from what we've learned in these years of playing Against the Dark Master.
Oh yeah. Now, Starmaster, which I'm going to be calling it that because I'm not paid by the syllable, is ostensibly a space opera, and that is a wide net. So
yeah.
With Against the Dark Master, I do remember us talking about some of the inspirations, some of the influences, and the Appendix N media.
Yep.
Starmaster, what would some of the Appendix N entries be in terms of other media, whether it be video games, whether it be music, whether it be other TTRPGs, whether it be video games, comics, film? You get the idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, space opera is really big, and it includes lots of stuff from planetary romance to even military space opera. That's really a lot of different subgenres. We're aiming here towards something kind of specific, but still within a certain range of subgenres. So you'll have, obviously, Star Wars is a big inspiration, but also maybe even more some of the old science fiction comics, like Flash Gordon, or even God. Buck Rogers, Star Hunter, even Jodorowsky, the Metabarons, in some sense. So we're aiming here at very comic book style type of setting and action. And of course, there are lots of other things. There are lots of movies from Star Wars to all those 80s Star Wars knockoffs, like Star Crash, Star Chaser, the Last Starfighter. There are lots of movies with Star in them.
Yeah.
You look like kinda Star Wars, but not really. And we really loved them as kids growing up, because they were the next thing to another Star Wars movie until the prequels came out, basically.
Mm-hmm. And
And-
I'd be
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up stuff like Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, or the unfortunately timed film Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension, which wasn't a bad movie, but it came out the same week as Indiana Jones 3. So it had no chance.
Yeah, it happens with a lot of movies. Even, The Thing, I think, came out same or less the same time as E.T. So yeah, that was a really unfortunate box office.
And some years were bigger offenders. 1982 was an incredibly stuffed year for science fiction and fantasy. Just with all the stuff that came out during that year. But given that, and I know within the playtest you also name dropped Dune, which, out of curiosity, did you ever see the documentary of the Dune that Jodorowsky was going to make?
Yeah. Tom saw it. Tom keeps telling me to watch it, but I didn't. I haven't watched it.
It is
but I plan to do.
Yeah, it is a fascinating bit of insanity, like the fact that he wanted to have Mick Jagger playing one of the Harkonnens, and the Emperor being played by Salvador Dali, and somehow got H.R. Giger to do concept art.
Yeah, I saw those. Really weird stuff.
Yeah,
it was Dune. Even Serenity or Firefly, is part of inspiration. No, our I'm trying to remember. I forgot something. There was also this animated movie that was there, but I forgot the name. Titan AI. The Titan AI.
Titan E. And
I will put that. That's basically the idea.
I suppose I could also throw in. I suppose I could also throw in Leiji Matsumoto's sci-fi work.
Sure. Captain Harlock or Star Blazer. So, and the basic idea is this big space setting, possibly with a lot of different alien kings and cultures, and that's a big threat. That's on the background, or it's overt, and the characters are working to fight this threat, or at least trying to survive, feed it. And it can be different, very different. Possibly even more than in Dark Master. You can have this big empire, or you can have these eldritch entities, from another warp dimension, or you can have something like the megacorp, like Wayland Yutani, that's basically controlling everything, and you're fighting it from within and surviving all this plot. So it can super very different themes, but the general gist is always there. There's this big Starmaster.
And speaking of that, now when it comes to setting, I have a very loose thing depending on the game in question. But since we're dealing with space opera and science fiction, and the idea of interstellar kind of science fiction, one thing that I feel like I do have to ask about does tie into FTL travel, faster than light. Is within the universe of Starmaster, is it a case of something like jumping to light speed? Are there specific jump points? how do you approach interplanetary travel?
Yeah. Also, well, for starter, let's keep in mind that this is like a not a hard sci-fi game, so you won't find anything incredibly specific or based on actual physics
Yeah, this
in the
isn't
game.
Traveler.
Yeah, exactly. And what what you're going for as a standard for the game is something like Star Wars that jump to hyperspace or warp drive.
Mhm.
You have to make some calculation and make a roll, obviously, in a certain situation if it's relevant to, or if you have to do under a certain time constriction, or if you're pressed by someone is chasing you or something like that. And then you just jump or warp to hyperspeed and travel to your destination. We're also having some option to jump points like in Mass Effect, for example. That's another big inspiration, by the way. So kind of something between these two. It also depends very much on the type of campaign you wanna play, because we are some suggestions, because you want to have in some campaigns you'll travel quite a lot from planet to planet, or even in deep space, or in others maybe you're just visiting one planet and going to another like once or twice in the whole campaign. That's it. So it's it really depends on the game you want to play. Is it something more like Barsoom, or is something more like Dune, Star Wars, or even Chronicles of Riddick, and that will obviously impact on the role spaceships and star travel are gonna have in the game. And even the spaceships, where obviously there are different spaceships and types of vehicles, but what we're suggesting here for the players to have their own specific starship that's gonna be basically part of a party. It's gonna be kind of a sort of additional charter to itself and function as a sort of base of operation and a place where you're going to take downtime actions, like the safe havens kind of in Dark Master. And also it's gonna have its own stats and special abilities, because we want to represent something like the Millennium Fight Falcon on the Fireflies, something the players will recognize.
Oh yeah. Now, with that in mind, since we're on the subject of ships, one particular fantasy when it comes to this sort of thing is doing battles in space, and battles in space specifically around fighters. That was a big thing in the original Star Wars, largely because of Lucas's inspirations. And it's one of those things that I'm curious about, since there wasn't going to be an equivalent you could do when it came to vehicular combat in say against the Dark Master. So
it's something we had to think quite a lot about it.
So
and
is ship dogfighting something that is on the table against the Starmaster?
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely on the table. And you are going to have vehicular combat, so you can have vehicles in a fight where there are also on foot fighters. Like I don't know, someone is on a hoverbike and you're trying to shoot at them, or something like that, or they have a tank and hopefully you're trying to get away from it, and then there are going to be dogfight between fighters and other small spaceships, and basically we have divided the various vehicles in four scales, and let's say the first three are the vehicles that can be piloted by a single character or a small crew, so they are still very personal.
So your
And
X-wings.
these are your X-wing, or even the Millennium Falcon. The party can handle it by themselves. And when you go beyond that, the last step of the scales, when you go behind them, when you have to have a crew, an actual large crew to handle the ship, and you've got something like the Yamato from Star Blazer to make an example.
Yep.
Yeah, that's on an entirely different scale. It's not personal anymore. So you will be using different rules, because obviously a single starfighter can't do anything against a destroyer, and you'll have to use something that's similar to the war rules in Against the Dark Master for large scale battles. While for normal combat or dog fights, they're more similar to the standard combat rules.
Yeah, I can certainly get that.
But what we wanted to achieve here is to make it make it so that the player characters felt always critical to the resolution of the conflict, right? So they're not just pawns in the battlefield. They're making important decisions, and they're plotting, desperate plans, trying to drive through the asteroid fields or reach the exhaust vent and launch their torpedoes to get the weak point of this fully operational battle station.
Yeah, we couldn't get away from that one.
Yeah.
But
so we thought that couldn't be achieved through just expanding the normal combat, but we had to have some more dynamic, dramatic rules for that.
Yeah, and I can.
Otherwise, if you want it to be realistic, you are in a starfighter and the enemy dreadnoughts is firing at you. You wouldn't last very long, and it wouldn't be very heroic.
Yeah, and you've already made clear that this is not trying to go for that style of realism. There are other games that are doing that. Now,
yeah, precisely.
Obviously, within Against the Dark Master, you had magic, and within Starmaster, you have mysticism.
Yeah.
So, I think one of the things I'd be curious about is how similar or different are the two from each other, since it would be tempting to say one of them is just magic in space, but there's obviously more to that.
Yeah, we tried actually to make it feel like something different,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some similarities. We tried to. We actually had a different, very different design
Mm-hmm.
start, but we decided to make it more similar to Magic in some aspects to avoid
Mm-hmm.
having to reinvent the wheel completely. But there are also several differences. You don't learn spell lists like in Dark Master. You have
Mm-hmm.
to research and develop um, your powers. You have the mystical powers are divided into disciplines like telekinesis or telepathy
Mm-hmm.
are two different branches basically of mysticism.
Mm-hmm.
And within these there are different powers. So you can your skill is represents how powerful and how much control you have on that field. So you can be a very powerful telepath and be able to read minds on incredible range or of multiple people at once
Mm-hmm.
and be just that. Or you could be, or you could learn overpowers and maybe be a little less powerful, but more more adaptable. Have different ways of using your mind.
Yeah.
So with telekinesis, for example, you could learn to create, a kinetic shield to protect you, or use your power to attack over other people or to levitate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And but you'll have to discover and develop these powers
Mm-hmm.
from by yourself, basically.
Yeah.
So in some ways, it's similar to Magic because it's always a skill-based system after all.
Mm-hmm.
There are some differences.
Yeah. And with that in mind, would it be fair of me to say that you plan on putting in a framework so that people can create their own custom powers, since you're not going with a spell list?
There is going to be a list of different powers. It's just that you don't learn them automatically,
Mm-hmm.
like in spells in Dark Master, but you have to choose whether to, develop your let's say your raw power, the raw power of your discipline, or actual different uses for it. So it gives a lot of variance to the characters,
Mm-hmm.
and but still within some defined parameters, if you can say.
Mm-hmm. All right, I can get that, and I'm guessing that said powers are not exactly fire and forget. Like there's ways to modify the effects of them.
Yeah. That's like the spells in Master. Each power can be amplified or slightly modified to achieve different effects within its scope, basically.
Mm-hmm. Which certainly makes sense. But within that, I think one of the other things I'm a bit curious on is you had said earlier that within this it was just as much about looking at what you had done with Against the Dark Master and refining it over what you've learned in the time since that project. What were some of those learning experiences, and how are those learning experiences being implemented in Starmaster?
Well, yeah, there are quite a lot of them actually, but the character stats. We have reduced the stats used from the classical six from against the Dark Master to just 4, because we felt that some of the stats in Dark Master are slightly too important, and some other are kind of there just to add something, or as a leftover, from previous from our inspirations, like the like fortitude it's very basically just to influence your hit points, and that's all. It doesn't do anything about that. So we thought, well, let's just scrap it and use only brawl instead. And so we are trying to refine lots of things like this. So there are several small adjustments that we draw from our experience with Dark Master. Also, the combat system, it's pretty different, and this is partly comes from our experience with Dark Master. We're trying to make it more clear, so that people can immediately understand some of the things that weren't as clear in Dark Master. Things like how much the stun lasts, or exactly how parry works, and when I can parry what, or what happens with phasing or engagement. There are details that came up once in a while when discussing combat in Dark Master, and we try to clear up those and make them simpler and clearer. And on the other end, there were things that in the Starmaster setting just wouldn't work, like the initiative based on the length of your weapon. I mean, that's just not going to work in a setting with most people are going to be to arm with blasters. And so we had to rework a bit that. Also, since we wanted to make the combat a little more cinematic or comic book like, with more action prone. While in Dark Master is kinda more. It's a bit slower in the sense that you're pointing a lot of your defense and working around the enemy's weaknesses. So we wanted something that had characters keep trying dash in action and keep pushing forward, because that's what the heroes from the comic books and the movies normally do in this situation.
Yeah. Now, with that in mind, there were a few things that were in the pre-gen sheets that weren't in the playtest document that I did want to pick your brain about.
Yeah.
I'd say the first one is the concept of star path and subsequently star points.
Yeah, that's actually not going to be in the game. I mean, I think we left it in some of the sheet and in our character sheet they're called still drive point. I mean the star paths are it's probably going to be called that. We're still on the fence if it's better to call it star path or call it heroic path like in Against the Dark Master.
Yeah.
And initially we wanted to have star points, but in the end, since they are basically the same as drive points, we decided to go with that because it's just simpler for people coming from Dark Master to understand the concept if it uses the same name. So that was just a play on the word and on the title of Starmaster. But we decided to go with drive points in the end. That's another things we've reworked and refined from Dark Master, the drive point system. We slightly adjusted their effects and what they can be used for in game to address some of the issues we had with them in Dark Master.
Makes sense. And
yeah,
when it comes to, I have to double check, but I'm trying to recall if this attribute pair setup that you have with skills was done in Dark Master.
No, that's new. That's new. We gave to Against the Dark Master skills dependent from one stat, and in Starmaster we're going with the average of usually different stats, and the reason behind that is simply for balance, basically to avoid that a stat will become just too important. For like swiftness in Against the Dark Master is
trying to avoid
stat,
trying to avoid the god stat problem that can happen where one core stat cascades into to enough other things that it becomes more important than the other core stats.
Yeah, exactly, and that is partly trying to avoid making a dump stat too convenient for a character to have. We want to try to keep the characters at more balanced, if you pass me the term, as possible, in the sense that they shouldn't be too wildly min-maxing. I mean, a little min-max is perfectly fine with that topic.
Yeah, it sounds like the approach you're taking is that if, regardless of what you treat as a dump stat, you are giving yourself a significant weakness.
Yeah, that's correct. And for those that prefer the ways of old, let's say, we are giving the option of using just one stat if you prefer. So that's it's not a big deal.
Which I can certainly see, and it looks like from the pre-gens you are still doing a vocation system.
Yeah.
Which some of the vocations I can see where the parallels are. There are a few where I'm wondering what the equivalent might be. I'd say the big one in the playtest is champion.
Yeah, it's champion. We wanted to call it Star Knight at the beginning, but went with champion to make it more, less tied to the setting. Champion could be a Star Knight. something else. But yeah, that's more similar to Dark Master.
And
There are going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 vocation in total against the Starmaster.
Yeah. So in the pre-gens that are in the current playtest, we have the fighter, which I'd imagine is meant to be the good with weapons archetype.
Yeah, it's a good guess.
The envoy, which is your diplomancer.
Mm-hmm.
The rogue, which is a rogue. I don't need to go any further than that. And champion,
a roguish character.
Yeah. And champion, which I have a feeling is meant to be the representative for those who want to dive more into the mystic disciplines.
Yeah, it's the Star Saber wielding warrior with psychic powers, or something like that. You could also use it to basically represent any kind of fighting character that also have some mystical or psionic abilities.
Yeah. Are there any other vocations that are planned in the full book that weren't in that playtest?
Yeah, we have 2 more vocations. The Mystic, which is obviously a fully a character that is fully devoted to the mystical side. So unlike the champion who kind of doubles both fighting and mystic disciplines, the Mystic is your mule. And the other one is the Technician, who is obviously more the engineering or science side of the is the character that knows how stuff work and how to do stuff, basically how to repair your ship or how to hack into your database and things like that.
Yeah. Since you brought up hacking, that is its own elephant in the room, since a lot of science fiction games, and especially a lot of cyberpunk games, have attempted hacking systems. But there is a bad habit among hacking systems to have them be this extensive exchange that ultimately ends up being a duet between the hacker and the GM. And even if you can have multiple hackers in a party, people don't do that.
Yeah, I know. I've played a lot of Shadowrun back in the high school, and we always drop those rules because we tend having the one character like give half a session with the playing solo with the GM, but yeah, no, we're not doing that. Also because while hacking is present, is not that important in this kind of space opera setting. You're a hacker. Yeah, you you connect your port to the main frame or main computer. There's a little scene where you are doing your things and then bam, you're done. It's usually handled like that. Very different from Cyberpunk, where it's one of the main themes of the setting. Even in Star Wars, like in the R2, T2, that's connects to the Star Port and just open up the door in the system, and that's it. We're not spending much time on it.
Oh yeah, and because of the way vocations work, and development points work, would it be fair of me to say that, in theory, if somebody wanted to spend the points, even if it might be a bit more expensive depending on vocation, they could invest in the mystical abilities after character creation? It's just that it might be more expensive.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly like in Dark Master.
Mm-hmm.
Your vocation basically determines the things you are good at, but never locks you out of anything. So if you're a fighter, you can still try and develop some mystical abilities.
Mm-hmm.
The only caveat is that mystics would be much better at it because it costs them much less, and will be able to actually develop many different powers, like while characters without normal access to mystical disciplines won't be able to very much their power. They may become good at telekinesis, but we won't be able to do much besides moving objects with it.
Mm-hmm.
But and here comes the heroic / star path rules to the rescue, because we are structuring them in a slightly different way than how they work in against the Dark Master.
Mm-hmm.
And as you gain milestones by spending your drive points, and you spend them, you are going to be able to develop new abilities, and even possibly, awaken wild mystical talents or something like that, as long as it makes sense. In the campaign.
Yeah. And the heroic path in against the Dark Master did have that notion of passing the torch to a successor of sorts. Is that kind of thing going to be in Starmaster as well?
Yes. Yeah, that's going to be there too.
Mm-hmm.
And because while in some sense it may be a little less lethal than Dark Master, chapter that is still probably going to happen sometimes, where they tend to get messy.
Yeah. Which, is as long as there's still that heroic aspect where it's not necessarily a case of one moderately decent roll can put you in the dirt. I think you can still have that heroic theme.
Yes, you're trying to go for that. We have reviewed the critical strikes and the attacks and try to make it less likely to be, one-shotted by a random luck roll, which can always happen, but it's not as likely as it was in Dark Master.
Yeah.
And it's more most likely to get serious injuries or be so that's always on the table, but we're aiming for a more heroic vibes basically here.
Mm-hmm. Now, in Dark Master, you had the fact that each kin had a set of background points that you could spend to get certain abilities, and I see something like that in the feats and abilities section on the pre-gens for Starmaster. Is it largely going to work similarly, where kin gives you a number of BPs to spend?
It's going to be exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have some background points, and you will have background and some characters like the Android can also have cybernetic augmentations
Mm-hmm.
installed inside their bodies, and that's all going to be handled via background points. And but as I said before, as you advance through your heroic path, you are going to be able to improve the background options you already have, or even develop new ones
Mm-hmm.
that are, relevant to what you've done in the story.
Oh yeah.
So if your evil father cut off your hand and you replace it with a mechanical one, let's say it's a scene that I envision here in this moment and never seen before anywhere else, you could develop, a background representing this.
Mm-hmm. Which definitely makes plenty of sense on that front. Now, with that in mind, I've been dancing around this for quite a bit, but I do remember one of the things that stood out when I initially found the Kickstarter for Darkmaster was, and again with Golden Throne, was the fact that you had set up a Spotify playlist as a thematic thing for both. Are you going to be doing something similar for the Kickstarter or the like for Starmaster?
Yeah. Well, give me a second, and I'll. What should be? Yeah, this one. We have already set it up on Spotify. Yeah. That was that's often on in the background while I write on the rules book.
Yeah, let me see what's.
When we play.
I can see that the I can see that the metal influence is still there.
Yeah, it's strong. Yeah,
that was never going to go away. With some pretty nice ones in there. I never have anything bad to say about seeing Luca Turilli in someone's playlist. I am not surprised that both of you and I would have Blind Guardians and Stradivarius in a playlist like this. I'm a bit surprised that I don't see anything from the Star One project.
keep in mind that this is a work in progress, so
Yeah.
we'll be surely adding stuff as we reach the go toward the publication or funding.
Yeah.
Whatever we decide to do in the end.
Yeah, have you ever heard Star One, which was the science fiction project for Arjen and Anthony Lucassen?
I think I've heard it before, but yeah, I just look at the album cover and I've listened to this.
Mm-hmm. I feel like at least like the first one was titled Space.
We should definitely put it. Yeah, we should definitely put one of this in the playlist.
I'd say a similar thing with Iron Savior. I feel like that one's. It is kind of obvious, but sometimes you gotta go with the obvious.
Yeah, sure.
But with that in mind, what are you shooting for as far as a page count? Because Darkmaster was around 574 pages. Are you thinking this is going to be similar size?
I think so. Yeah, where we are thinking of splitting this in two. and have a player handbook and a game master book. Kinda like we did with the print on demand version of Against the Dark Master.
Yeah.
Possibly in a slipcase or something like that. We'll see when we publish what will come out of that. With the Against the Dark Master, we went with the big book because it looked cool. And because it's kind of an homage to the big tour stopper of epic fantasy. So we wanted to have something that will a physical object that will remind you of those. And but in the end, yeah, the two books are definitely easier to use with tables.
That
So
would
we will be
certainly
probably
fit.
Yeah, we'll be probably going that way. But page count, yeah, I think it's going to be more or less the same. Because you it's difficult to tell because there are probably less stuff in the magic section, magic mystical section, but then you have stuff and other rules that are going to take some place. So I guess base count is going to be more or less that.
Yeah, I can go with that. And do you plan on doing a crowdfund for this in the future, or is it going straight to Drive-Thru RPG?
We're still deciding about that. We are currently thinking of doing a crowdfunding for a limited print run, offset print run. Even that really depends on the conditions of the market. It seems to vary with the incredible speed recently. So in the end, it will be that it will be more feasible or simply easier for everyone to do a print on demand on Caracristi RPG. And we're probably going with the crowdfunding, yes. Don't know if it's going to be on Kickstarter or on BakerKit, because Kickstarter has a very nice reach, but it's not the easiest platform to be working with, particularly with fulfillment. And so we're going to have an update about that. For the moment, we are focusing on, playtest and developing the rules. So we're working mainly on that. And, this means that we are going to take some time before the crowdfunding starts. It's probably going to be next year, sometime next year. We're very careful with the actual times because you never know what can happen. But yeah, probably sometime next year. And but the plus side is that when we are going with the crowdfunding, we'll have the rule and everything completely developed. So we're just waiting for them to be laid out, and possibly some illustrations that we're going to have to commission for the game.
And I will most definitely be looking forward to seeing more of Starmaster and what sort of shenanigans will happen. I know that inevitably I will try and try and use the background system to homebrew the forms of lightsaber combat into this system, because I seem to do that every time I'm given some Jedi equivalent. Sometimes not even in that. But
that
I will look forward to seeing what comes out of this in the coming months. But with that said, I do want to sincerely thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to come all the way to my monastery and enjoy the madness that happens around here. And
thanks to you for having me.
Anytime you see fit to return, the door is always open. As I often say around here, drinking is not mandatory, but it is encouraged. And, of course, a sincere thanks goes out to everyone who took the time out of their schedule to come onto the show and enjoy the madness. And there'll be plenty more where that came from, as there always is here, on the open bar of the internet. But until then, on behalf of the good brothers present and not present, my name is Mildra. I am your gaming monk. Stay fucking frosty, everybody.
Joy, joy,